Hi, I'm Dr. Carol Lee Johnson with Best Healing Solutions. A lot of us experience some pretty significant trauma at some point in our lives. A well-documented feature of trauma, one familiar to many, is our inability to articulate what happens to us. And not only do we lose our words, but something happens with our memory as well. And during a traumatic incident, our thought processes become scattered and disorganized in such a way that we no longer recognize the memories as belonging to the original event. Instead, fragments of the memory dispersed as images, body sensations, and words are stored in our unconscious and can become activated later by anything even remotely reminiscent of the original experience. But once they're triggered, it's as if an invisible rewind button has been pressed, causing us to reenact aspects of the original trauma in our day-to-day lives. Unconsciously, we could find ourselves reacting to certain people, events, or situations in old, familiar ways that echo the past trauma. Sigmund Freud identified this pattern more than 100 years ago. He called it traumatic reenactment or repetition compulsion. And it's an attempt of the unconscious to replay what's unresolved so that we can get it right. And this unconscious drive to relive past events could be one of the mechanisms at work when families repeat unresolved traumas in future generations. And sometimes we call that miasm, but Freud's contemporary Carl Jung also believed that what remains unconscious doesn't dissolve, but rather it resurfaces in our lives, and as he called it, fate or fortune. Whatever's not conscious, he said, will be experienced as fate. In other words, we're likely to keep repeating our unconscious patterns unless we bring them into the light of awareness. And both Jung and Freud noted that whatever is too difficult to process doesn't fade away on its own, but rather it's stored in our unconscious and then can become generational or passed on to the next generation, which has actually been proven recently by modern science. Freud and Jung both observed how fragments of previously blocked or suppressed or repressed life experiences would show up in the words and gestures and behaviors of their patients. It's kind of like a secret language of our suffering until we're able to dig it up and bring it to the surface and analyze it and then resolve it. Best Healing Solution is able to bring to the surface these unconscious fragments and connect the dots so that you can release trauma and live your best life. Best Healing Solutions has developed an amazing method of surfacing old trauma for healing so that it can be analyzed and released. I've been working in this field of science for 12 years now, and I have seen and facilitated many amazing healing stories, and I'd love to work with you. My contact information is below or in the bio. Maybe I'll talk to you soon.